Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. In this video, I'm going to do nails inspired by escoffier from Genshin Impact. I already filed the shape of the nail before filming, and here I'm just removing any dust and debris with alcohol. Then I'm etching the nail tips using a primer. I prefer using primer because it's kind of faster and also way cleaner than buffing them. Next, I'm applying the base gel, and while I'm doing that, let me show you what escoffier looks like in case you don't play Genshin and have no idea who I'm talking about. I know that her design is not everybody's favorite. In fact, a lot of people do not like it, but I personally love it so much. Everything about her is beautiful. I love the mix of pink and blue. So there was no way I wouldn't cosplay her, and since she's not wearing gloves, I had to do the nails. And I think they finish off my cosplay perfectly. Okay, back to the nails. Next I'm going to build some structure because the nail tips I'm using are very flat and they fit my nails perfectly, but I don't like this flat look, so I'm going to add some on top, which is also going to make them more sturdy. I'm using this catwalk builder gel. This one is my favorite. It's the thinnest one in the line, and I really like how quickly it self-levels. Usually I apply a moderate layer all over the whole nail and then place one large drop where the apex should be and stretch it toward the tip, and after that I just let it sit and level for a little while just to save time. And while it levels, I move on to the next nail, and then I come back to the previous one, and then I just clean up the sides so the nail gel that moved down there doesn't create extra bulk, or the nail will look kind of fat. Escoffier's a chef, and her specialty is the gâteau de bord, however you pronounce it. Basically, cake. So I wanted to use these decorations that look like those little piped whipped cream swirls you see on the cakes. I thought they looked really pretty and matched the theme, so I picked them all that had those details. I'm filling it with a mix of top gel and white gel. Next I'm making a bow with this mold. Here I'm prepping a color I'm going to use. My usual ratio for mold gel, I would say, is about 4 parts top coat to 1 part color gel, and then I adjust it based on how opaque it looks and how thick the part is. And I always use top coat because the charms come out very flexible while still being pretty sturdy, and since they're mostly made out of top coat, you technically don't even need to cover them with the top gel afterwards. Here I'm mixing some hot pink gel and filling in this ruffle. Making sure that there aren't any bubbles, and if there are, I just pop them with the dotting tool. Well, not really pop, I just move them towards the surface of the gel. And here's the result. I am cutting off any excess from the charms using an old cuticle nipper. For this bow charm, I'm going to cover everything except for the bow with this gold ink. This ink is really nice and pretty, but the only problem is that it gets really thick super quickly. And I personally still haven't figured out how to thin it back out. I tried using alcohol and acetone, and neither worked. So if anyone knows a trick, please let me know, because I still have a lot of this ink left inside, but it's very thick and goopy. And now I'm prepping all the charms, rhinestones, and other little parts that I'm going to use later. Next, I'm mixing in some caviar beads into the top gel on the palette to make them ready to use. And I'm also mixing in some pearls, the tiniest little 1mm pearls. I'm going to show you how I do each finger separately, just because I feel like it's way easier to follow. And we're going to start with the thumb. First, I'm applying a layer of milky white jelly gel. This thumb is going to be inspired by her stockings. Like, those are iconic. I think that's the only part of her design that everybody loves. They're just so gorgeous and glittery, like you can tell budget. Next, I'm taking my favorite white liner gel and I'm going to mark out the border that separates the stocking from the leg. Then I'm applying this glittery white jelly gel only on the part that's supposed to represent the stocking. After that, I decided that it was still a little too translucent, so I added another layer of the milky white gel over the same area, and then another layer of the glitter gel. I'm using this Bling Fix gel by View Gel, which honestly, I don't love. I just got it when I was filming this video and trying it out for the first time. But I guess it's just a little too runny for my preference, and it doesn't set quick enough when you use Pincure. Like the gels I'm used to get set within a couple seconds. This one you need to hold for maybe 10, which is too long. I don't have the time. And so I'm pretty sure later in this design I switch back to my regular rhinestone gel. And now we're going to start blinging everything out. I'm using this gold charm because it reminds me of the gold detailing at the top of her stocking. Then I'm building up the garter detail using these pearl hearts and a pearl bow. Then I'm covering up this ugly white line with those filigree mold pieces. I found that it's easier to keep them inside the mold until you actually use them. Otherwise, once they're out, especially if you have multiple ones of different types and the mirrored ones, you kind of get lost in them. And it takes a while to find a pair. This gold charm has a little loop in it that looks kind of awkward, so I just placed a tiny blue rhinestone inside. Then I'm covering all the charms with a thick builder gel to make sure that there aren't any gaps between them, so nothing gets snagged later. And after that, I'm sealing the whole nail with top gel. But we're still not done with this design yet. Next, I'm taking the same white liner gel and drawing stripes just like on her stockings. Normally, I would cure each stripe separately to make sure nothing smudges while I'm drawing, but this time I'm leaving them uncured because I'm going to pour glitter over the top. And I'm using this white glitter that doesn't shift into any colors, and I feel like because it's pure white, it doesn't sparkle quite as dramatically as I was going for. But I also didn't want to introduce any extra colors into the design, so it still gives it a really nice texture. So I still like it. I'm curing everything for 60 seconds to make sure it cures thoroughly, and then I'm going to brush off the excess glitter. And here it finally looks like her stocking! Next, I'm using the sub gel to add a few more rhinestones so it doesn't look too plain. Escoffier's main colors are blue and hot pink, so I'm trying to include at least a little bit of each color on every nail. I'm adding some of those whipped cream swirl decorations to tie into the cake theme. Then I'm carefully applying top gel just around the rhinestones. And we're done with the thumb. Moving on to the index finger. Again, I'm starting with a layer of milky white jelly gel. I'm doing 2 coats of that and then 1 layer of the same glittery white gel. And then a second layer just around the base area. Then I'm going in with this hot pink glitter gel. It's so pretty. And I'm applying it right at the tip. And kind of smudging it down to create a nice little gradient. Next, I'm taking out some non-stick builder gel to secure the larger charms. I always wipe large rhinestones with alcohol before placing them to make sure that there's no dust or oils from my hands picking them up at some point. It doesn't always save them from getting lost, but at least it gives me peace of mind that I did everything to make sure that they stay. I'm placing this huge heart one in the center of the nail and making sure that there's no gel squeezing out on the sides. Then I'm placing this self-made bow right below the rhinestone. I'm filling the empty space between them with more of the solid gel. And then I'm filling the sides of the rhinestone and bow with some smaller rhinestones so the design looks very detailed and complete from every angle. Next, I'm placing the skull charm on top of the heart rhinestone. And here I noticed that it was a little crooked, so I'm just going to fix it back into place with pliers. I'm adding more flatback rhinestones. I really like those tiny hot pink rhinestones I'm using here. They're super tiny and really pretty, but for some reason I feel like they are not as good of a quality as some of the other tiny rhinestones I use. And I searched everywhere online and I couldn't find any alternatives in the same color, shape, and size. Like every Taobao seller seems to be selling the same thing, and I claim that they're the highest grade, but they're not. Hopefully one day they'll make some better quality ones. And the worst part is that they cost as much as the good quality ones. This charms has little open spots that I'm guessing were meant for rhinestones. So I decided to place some pearls and rhinestones inside of them. I wanted this nail to be almost completely covered in decoration, so I'm using more of those whipped cream swirl pieces to fill in any gaps. By the way, this design has a lot of hearts in it because she has a lot of hearts all over her design. Even her eye has a heart-shaped reflection in it. For the remaining empty space at the top, I am adding more of those filigree mold pieces. And now that there's basically no empty space left on this nail, I'm covering everything with builder gel first to make sure nothing gets snagged or falls off later. And then I'm applying top gel over everything, except for rhinestones, of course. I always use a tiny little liner brush to get into every little nook and cranny. Now moving on to the middle finger, I'm starting with this hot pink color and doing 2 coats to make sure it's fully opaque. Then I'm adding some of the same hot pink glitter I used on the index finger, just on the very center. And after that, I'm applying a matte top coat because I'm going to do chrome art over it. I always wipe the matte top coat with alcohol to make sure there's no residue left that the chrome could accidentally stick to. I'm very bad at freehanding symmetrical things. So first I'm sketching everything out with the pencil. First I'm marking the center line of the nail, and based on that I'm mapping out where I want the heart to be. This is the design that I'm trying to recreate. She has it on her skirt. Then I'm filling in the heart with 1 coat of black gel polish as the background. I always work in very thin layers with black and yellow gels. I have kind of a PTSD from it not curing on me. Then I'm taking this cat eye gel that doesn't have any base color. It's just silver magnetic particles in it. And I'm putting it over the black. And then I'm pulling all the particles towards the center in this circular motion. Then I'm covering only the hard part with another layer of matte top gel. And yes, of course, I wipe it with alcohol again. And now moving on to the chrome. I'm using this very thin, slightly bent brush. It got a little messed up because I think I closed the cap on the bristles at some point, but it's okay. It will work. I've mixed the thickest top gel with just a teeny bit of black gel, and I'm using it to outline the heart. Then I'm going in with my favorite gold chrome. And I felt like the thick top gel still wasn't holding enough height, so I switched to the black embossing gel instead because it keeps its shape really well. I'm drawing over the outline again to build more dimension and also add those little details on the end that kind of look like bug antenna. One thing I noticed with this specific gel is that it doesn't take chrome very well if you cure it for too long. So I usually cure it for around 15 seconds rub in the chrome, and then finish curing with the chrome already on top. And then it works really well. I've never had any issues with cure and chipping or anything like that. And then I outline everything one more time because I still felt like it wasn't raised enough. I really wanted it to stand out. After that, I brush away any excess chrome and do another layer because apparently I was committed to making this thing as dimensional as possible. And here's the finished heart. It's a little crooked, which bothers me way more than it probably should. Then I'm placing this bow piece near the cuticle area and I add some rhinestones around it. You can see me slowly creeping into the frame because I could not find the rhinestone shape I wanted. For whatever reason, when I do the press-ons, first hand, the practice one, always turns out way better than the one I'm filming. It's probably because when I'm filming I can't actually see what I'm doing properly and can't hold the nail as close to my face as I would like it to be. And here's the finished design. I focused mostly on the blue rhinestones for this nail, since the majority of it is hot pink. And I wanted the blue to stand out a little more to balance it. And here's the finished. Then I'm covering everything with builder gel, making sure to fill any gaps between the charms and the nail. And after that, I'm top coating everything. I always flip the nail upside down before curing. Then I'm taking this thick top gel and I'm adding a final layer over the hard section to make it look extra smooth and plump. I think it looks really cute with the cat eye underneath. And now we're moving on to the ring finger. Again, I'm starting with 2 coats of milky white gel. Then I'm applying 1 layer of glittery white gel all over and a second layer just near the cuticle area. And after that, I'm doing a pink gradient from the tip down toward the middle. For this nail, I got inspired by the hairpin that she has with the 2 crisscross forks on it. I'm applying this frame part first, making sure I leave enough space under it for the heart charm. And then I'm taking the same white liner gel and I'm mapping out the mesh pattern over all the empty areas. It doesn't need to be perfect, it's just a guide for some more charms later. After that, I'm filling in the frame with gel. And then I'm taking out those fork charms and I'm slightly bending them so they can overlap without adding too much bulk. I'm placing them in a crisscross pattern over the frame and making sure everything is aligned symmetrically. Underneath the frame, I'm placing a heart charm. And yeah, here you can see me switching to my favorite fixing gel. And I'm using it to attach a blue rhinestone heart on top of the heart charm, because apparently there's no such thing as too many hearts. It's kind of funny because before I started doing nails, I never really liked heart-shaped things because they felt a little too cringy, too girly, too stereotypically cute. But then since doing nails and realizing that there are only so many rhinestone shapes that I personally like and use, I started loving everything heart because it's an amazing shape. And I think all the heart charms, rhinestones are absolutely adorable. And it's the same thing with butterflies. I still don't like butterflies in real life because when you think about it, they're just worms with wings. Kind of creepy. I really don't like anything wormy, and no matter how pretty their wings are, they're still very bleh to me. But now I love adding butterflies to everything, not just nails. Maybe because usually butterfly charms completely ignore the body and just leave the wings. But maybe something just shifted in me. I don't know. I've always been a super cutesy girl, but I feel like since doing the nails, I embraced my girly side even more. Going back to the design, I already placed a whole bunch of stuff on this nail, and after that I'm following the lines I marked earlier and placing some rhinestones, pearls, and caviar beads along them. I'm adding one pearl right at each crisscross point, and then filling the gaps between them with a few pink and blue rhinestones and some caviar beads. This part took me forever as usual, but I think this one is my favorite nail out of the whole set for some reason. It just feels very delicate and cute. Alright, we're done. Now I'm covering all the empty spaces between the charms with builder gel. The frame section especially needed that. And then I'm top coating everything. I'm also fully covering those tiny little rhinestones because they're so small that it's really hard to cover around them, so I don't even bother. And now I'm moving on to the pinky finger. I'm starting with a very thin coat of black gel and then another thin layer on top. After that, I'm covering the whole nail with the cat eye gel that I used before. I'm using a magnet to pull the particles in front all the sides first, and then I'm using a circular motion to gather them into a bright circle right in the center. I've been obsessed with this effect recently. It looks so satisfying and beautiful. I feel like I should have used dark brown instead of black because those parts on her costume are actually dark brown, but I didn't have a color that would fit. So I just decided to go with black because it's easier. Here I'm placing this pink ruffle piece. Her outfit has a lot of ruffles, so I felt like it was perfect for the theme. And then I'm adding this heart frame piece. I tried to find more of this charm to buy, but I can't seem to find it anywhere now. Everywhere seems to be selling a very similar design, but it's way bigger than this one, and this one is perfect for Pinky. I guess it got discontinued since I bought it. I'm using a tiny bit of solid gel inside of it to secure a V-cut rhinestone. Then I'm placing this lacy cream thingy on the other side of the charm. I'm using my tiny UV pincure lamp to press each side down separately so it sticks really snugly to the nail. Then I'm adding one more rhinestone on top. And then I'm placing caviar beads and pearls into each little indent on the lace. And also in little clusters along the center line of the pink ruffle. It always amazes me how those tiny details end up completely transforming the design and making everything look so detailed and polished. And now I'm going to carefully fill in all the empty spaces with builder gel, making sure everything is fully secured. After that, I'm top coating everything. By the way, you can already find me cosplaying with those nails on my Instagram page. And that's pretty much it. We're done. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and all that good stuff. I'll see you in the next video. Bye!